The Airbus A320 hummed softly as it sliced through the morning sky. The flight from Denver to Washington, D.C. was full. Business travelers scrolling through slides, a few soldiers in uniform heading home, and in seat 12F, a man who looked like the last person to attract attention. Daniel "Hawk" Harrison leaned his head against the window, eyes half closed. His salt and pepper hair was trimmed military style, though slightly grown out, and the creases around his eyes spoke of both discipline and fatigue. Across the aisle, his 10-year-old daughter Lily swung her legs restlessly, headphones slipping down her small ears as she watched a cartoon on the in-flight screen. "Daddy, are we there yet?" she asked for the third time, a mischievous smile tugging at her lips. "Almost, kiddo. Just another hour," Daniel said, smiling softly. He reached over and squeezed her hand. "We'll get some ice cream when we land, okay?" Her grin widened. "Promise?" "Scout's honor," he replied. To everyone else, he was just another tired single dad, a man in jeans, a faded leather jacket, and quiet eyes. Nobody on that flight knew that the name Daniel Harrison had once echoed through the skies over Afghanistan, nor that the call sign Hawk 1 had been whispered in reverence across Air Force bases for over a decade. He had retired 3 years ago, after losing his wife, also a pilot, in a tragic training accident. Since then, he'd grounded himself, focusing only on raising Lily, but fate wasn't done with him. 30 minutes before landing, turbulence rattled the cabin. The pilot's calm voice came over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing some airspace congestion ahead of D.C. Air Command has temporarily rerouted us. Please remain seated." Daniel frowned. Air Command? Commercial flights didn't usually get that kind of rerouting language. He looked out the window and froze. 2 sleek gray F-22 Raptors flanked the commercial jet, flying tight formation just a few hundred meters off the wingtips. Their angular frames glinted in the sun, silent and intimidating. Passengers gasped, phones came out, murmurs spread like wildfire. Are those military jets? What's going on? Daniel's instincts kicked in. He unbuckled his seatbelt. "Sir, please remain seated," the flight attendant said quickly. "Ma'am," he said, his tone calm but commanding in a way that made her hesitate. "I need to speak to your captain now." She blinked at the authority in his voice and hurried to the cockpit. 2 minutes later, the captain emerged, pale-faced and confused. "Sir, may I ask your name again?" he asked quietly. "Daniel Harrison." The captain's eyes widened slightly. "As in Colonel Daniel Hawk Harrison, USAF?" Daniel hesitated, then nodded once. The captain exhaled sharply. "Sir, the Raptors are asking for confirmation. They said they picked up an old call sign on a secure frequency. Hawk 1. They thought it was a prank. But when we confirmed the passenger manifest," Daniel's stomach sank. "My old emergency beacon code. He must have accidentally triggered it when Lily was fiddling with his old smartwatch, the one linked to his retired Air Force transponder." He sighed. "Let me talk to them." The captain ushered him into the cockpit. Through the windshield, the 2 Raptors glided gracefully, one pulling slightly ahead, the other holding formation. "Civilian Flight 2047. This is Raptor Lead. We have a code ping matching Hawk 1, confirm status." Daniel picked up the headset, his voice steady, low. "Familiar? This is Hawk 1, stand down, boys. Just hitching a ride with the civilians today." There was silence for a heartbeat. Then, sir, is that really you?" The pilot's voice trembled slightly, a mix of disbelief and respect. "Last I checked," Daniel said with a chuckle. "And you are?" "Raptor Lead, call sign Blazer." "Sir, it's an honor. We studied your dogfight tactics in training. You're a legend." The co-pilot's voice chimed in, barely containing awe. "Hawk 1, sir. Are you really on board 2047? "That's affirmative," Daniel said. "Seat 12F. Next to a very bored 10-year-old who thinks I sell airplane parts." The line erupted with laughter. Even the commercial pilots were grinning. "Copy that, sir. Welcome back to the skies. We're escorting you in, Colonel." Daniel tried to protest. "That's not necessary." But it was too late. The Raptors had already adjusted formation, their silver bodies glinting as they cut through the clouds like protective sentinels. Back in the cabin, passengers pressed their faces to the windows, murmuring in amazement. "Why are those jets flying with us? Are we under attack?" Lily leaned toward the window, eyes wide. "Daddy, look! They're waving!" Sure enough, one of the F-22 pilots dipped his wings in salute, a gesture Daniel returned instinctively with a subtle nod. When they finally landed at Reagan National Airport, the entire runway seemed to shimmer with activity. Two ground crewmen stood at attention beside a waiting black SUV with military plates. The moment Daniel and Lily stepped off the plane, the two F-22 pilots, still in their flight suits, jogged up. They snapped into a salute so sharp it could cut glass. "Colonel Harrison, sir. It's an honor." Daniel blinked, then reluctantly returned the salute. "At ease, gentlemen. I'm retired. Just a dad these days." "With respect, sir," Blazer said with a grin. "A legend never really retires." Lily tugged at her dad's sleeve. "Daddy, why are they saluting you?" He crouched down, smiling softly. "Because a long time ago I used to fly those same planes. But I like being your dad more." The pilots chuckled. One of them knelt to Lily's level and handed her a small F-22 patch. "For the daughter of Hawk 1, he said with a wink. She beamed. "Thanks, Daddy, can we ride in one?" Daniel laughed. "Maybe when you're older, kiddo." As they drove away, Daniel looked out at the two Raptors still parked on the tarmac. He felt something stir deep inside. Pride, loss, belonging. The sky had always been his home, but today reminded him that even when you step down, the sky never forgets its own. And in that quiet moment, as Lily fell asleep against his shoulder, Daniel realized something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. Because for all the battles he'd fought above the clouds, this, holding his daughter, seeing those young pilots salute, this was the victory.